Take-home quiz number 1. Mark your own. Find the missing side. I could probably, if I was clever, use SOHCAHTOA, but the easiest is going to be Pythagoras. I'm going to say x squared plus 35 squared equals 37 squared. 35 squared is 1225. X squared plus 1225 equals 37 squared. 1369. 1369, Mr. Dueck. Minus 1225 from both sides. I get x squared equals 144. X equals 12. 1 mark for the answer. Mr. Dueck, bat in hand, is on a 15-meter building. He sees Brody on a 10-meter... Ray, you got the quiz?
Yeah.
Okay. On a 10-meter building, the buildings are 6 meters apart, and there's a... Find X. Well, I'm going to have to add a triangle, and I think the triangle that I'm going to add is that one. And then, Simi, I have to make some reasoned calculations. Simi, my angel, how far from here to here?
6 minutes.
How far from here to here?
6 minutes.
I'll go, ha-ha! Then I'll say, Ashley, my angel, how far from here to here?
10.
How far from here to here?
15.
How far?
5.
What? Ooh. Oh, it's Pythagoras again. This time it's going to be 5 squared plus 6 squared equals x squared. I'm going to get x squared equals 25 plus 36. I could have done that in my head. 61. Square root of that. Whoop. Square root of that. 7.8. Did I say how many decimal places to go to in the instructions? No, I'll go 7.8 meters. That's actually Math 8 review. I think you do Pythagoras way back in Math 8. You got your money back on those jeans? Because someone, anyway, okay. Find the given ratio, Amber, in fraction form. I would have done this if I was actually writing this quiz right away. It cuts down on my thinking. So find the given ratio in fraction form. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. 5 over 13. 1 mark. Tangent of beta. So there's beta. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. 12 over 5. 1 mark. Cosine of alpha. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. 12 over 13. 1 mark. Find the missing side or angle to the nearest tenth. Okay. Adjacent, hypotenuse, cos 72 equals x over 25. X is going to be 25 cos 72. Oh, wrong button. 25 cos 72. 7 point to the nearest tenth, 7.7, I guess. Centimeters. I'm going to make this one out of 2. I would give you 1 mark for the correct trig function, 1 mark for the answer. So if you wrote down cos, that gets you 1. And if you cross-multiplied successfully, that gets you 1. B. Opposite, adjacent, tan of the angle equals 8.2 over x. I think you're going to end up with x being 8.2 divided by the tangent of 18. I think you're going to end up with x being 8.2 divided by tan 18. 25.2, is that right? Same thing, this is going to be out of 2. I'd give you 1 mark for tangent and 1 mark for the answer. C. Opposite hypotenuse. Oh, sine. What always goes next to the trig function, Darian? The angle, which this time is the variable theta, is going to be 6.4 opposite over 14.3. So this is also going to be out of 2. That's going to get you 1 mark. Now, how do I find an angle? Second function or shift sine of, and you got to put it in brackets when it's a fraction. Some of your calculators may automatically open up a bracket. 26.6 degrees. One mark, 1 mark. So I will give you 1 mark for the correct trig function, because I think, Brady, that's the real skill here. The rest is, truthfully, math 8. Tawny is looking out a window 25 meters above the ground. Mr. Dueck carefully measures the angle of elevation to the window as 20 degrees. If Mr. Dueck fires his air-zuka, trademark, find the distance the air has to travel before it hits Tawny. Okay, I'm going to draw a triangle. I drew mine this way. You could have drawn yours a different way. Where I'm pretty sure that's 25 meters above the ground. 20 degrees. Which of the 2 remaining sides, which of those is the distance the air puff is traveling? The horizontal side or the slanty side? The slanty. I think that's what they're asking me to find. Which is going to be opposite hypotenuse. It is going to be sine of 20 equals opposite over hypotenuse. I think when you cross multiply here, you're going to get 25 divided by the sine of 20. And you get 73.1 meters. In terms of part marks, I would change this one up just a little bit. Alon, she needs some help. She going to make it? I don't know. We'll just pause the video for a second. I would give you, excuse me, a half mark for a good diagram, 1 mark for cluing in its sign, and a half mark for the answer. If you got the right answer, again, Garrett, you get full marks. Looking at it from her condo in the Bahamas, Mickey sees 2 islands, A and B. Use the diagram below to find X and Y. Okay. I can't find Y yet, and the reason I can't find Y is for me to solve a triangle, I need to know 2 things. And in Y, I only have 1 side in that triangle. But here, I know an angle aside, I can find that. So I'm going to start out finding X. I'm going to say, hey, that's opposite. That's hypotenuse. Sine 42 equals X over 128. X is going to be 128 sine 42. 128 sine 42. 85.6. Now, I'm going to find Y. If I look over here, I can use, Pythagoras. I can go 240 squared plus 85.6 squared equals Y squared. Except I'm not actually ever going to use 85.6 since I have this number stored on my calculator and it's really accurate to like 50 decimal places, I'll use this one. I'll go 240 squared plus my previous answer squared. What the? Oh, how do I get the y by itself? I found y squared. How do I get rid of a squared? Square root. 254.8. I'll take anything from about 254.5 to 252.1. Depends on how you round it off, but you're going to be really close to that. I would go like this. 1 mark for the correct trig function, 1 mark for that. I would say 1 mark for that, 1 mark for that. So what did we say x was? 85.6. Y was 254.8. So this question is actually out of 4. So what does that make this quiz out of? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. This quiz is out of 17, not out of 11. Is that correct, my math folks? I think?
Yeah, 17.
So give yourself a lovely little score out of, count 'em, 17. Those of you that forgot your quizzes at home, you're going to get an NHI until you mark it yourself. So I gave you some questions to try from the homework. From lesson number 3, solving right angle triangles. Wasn't too much, but were there any of these that you wanted me to go over? Now is your chance to ask. Number 3. Did you get 3A okay? You're really having trouble with that. You might want to move that water bottle elsewhere, mister. I'm going to keep knocking it over until I figure it out. Who asked me number 3? Was it Darian? Okay. Darian, I'm going to guess that you did something like this. Ski slope. You might have drawn yours slanting upwards. I don't know. Let's draw it slanting upwards. So here's a ski run. They gave me the angle of depression, which is from your eye. They gave me that one. That's what angle of depression is. Okay. What horizontal distance does the ski... Oh, it tells me that this is 120 meters long from here to here. They want the horizontal distance. They want this. That there is what they want in part A. Problem, that's not on my triangle. But if I go like this, now I have that 15-degree angle. I think that's adjacent. And that top side is the same as the bottom side. Yes? It's a rectangle. Darian, did you get A and B okay? Did you get A and B okay? Were you wondering about part C?
I was confused with the word question.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to end up using hypotenuse adjacent cosine of 15 is the horizontal distance. I'll call that x divided by 120. Is that okay? Mm-hmm. Vertical distance, I'm going to call that y. I think that's that. Whoop. I think that's that, which is going to be opposite hypotenuse. I think it's going to be sine. Yes, Darian? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Cross multiply. What does C want me to find?
Slope.
Slope is rise over run. What's the rise? I think that's going to be your answer to part B. What's the run? I think that's going to be your answer to part A. I think the slope is going to be rise over run. By the way, you may notice, if you're paying attention, Garrett, that that's also opposite over adjacent? It turns out slope and tangent are the same thing. The slope on a graph is actually the tangent of that line if it was part of a triangle. For what it's worth. It is. You can survive without that, but it's really cool. I don't know what the answers are, but I attached the answers. That should get you there, okay? Yeah? I hope. Any others? You with me, Greg? Because you were... You good? Yeah. All we're going to do today, nothing new. I'm just going to give you more complicated diagrams. They're going to be triangles on top of triangles on top of triangles on top of multi-triangle diagrams. Ashley, joy of my heart, can you read to me the lesson title? So it says Trigonometry, lesson number 4, and underneath that, what does it say?
Solving two triangle problems 1.
Part 1. Remember, we got our two triangle, got more than one triangle to look at. I like these because I really look at these, Brody, as kind of nice little brain teasers. And if you haven't clued in, I like trig. It's useful. We have our 3 tools of trigonometry. What were our 3 tools? We have Pythagoras. We have SOHCAHTOA. Sine, cosine, and tangent. And we have, triangle equals 180 degrees. If I know 2 angles, I know the third one. Today, we're going to use these tools in order to solve 2 and 3 triangle problems. Whenever you solve these, first thing you need to find is you have to identify where the right angle is, because those are the only types of triangles we know how to solve so far. In grade 11, you'll learn non-right angle trig. You'll learn 2 more rules. One's called the sine law, one's called the cosine law. And that's it. And sine law and cosine law work for any kind of a triangle. But they're a little more complicated, a little yuckier. We always start out with right angle trig first. There's 3 main types of 2 triangle problems. There's an addition type question. There's a subtraction type question. And then there is a stepping stone, hopscotch, jump around type question. On your test, you're going to have all 3. What do I mean by an addition type question? Well, Garrett, can you read to me in question 1, what does it want me to find? It says, find what? AC. Now, look up. Here's the problem. AC, Garrett, is this, but if I use that triangle there, you can see there is no right angle. None of those angles are 90-degree perpendicular angles. Can anybody tell me how I can figure out how far from here to here? And your hint is in the title. Yeah, Marcus.
Find C to D.
Ooh, look at him. He's even using the letters, because that's why I did that, by the way. Find what?
Find C to D.
CD.
And find DA.
Find DA, and then
Add them together.
add 'em. That's why I called this the addition. Okay. When I first typed this up, I really walked everyone through this. You know what, Marcus, I think your explanation was even better. Let's write up here. Find, what did you say the first thing we're going to find was? CD, comma, find district attorney, DA, and add them. Yep. Oh, and by the way, you'll notice that's going to allow us to use right angles. Great flash of inspiration. Okay. You know what, Marcus? Because I know you guys like X's and Y's better than CD's and AB's. How about, Marcus, we'll call this one X and this one Y? Oh. Okay. Let's find x first. What we're going to be looking at, don't write this down because I'm really going to muck up this diagram, but Greg, we're looking at this triangle there. Amber, is that a right angle triangle? Does it have a 90-degree angle in it? Yeah, bottom left. Okay. What I would do, I would write this down. I would probably just kind of color in that angle just a tiny, tiny bit. That helps me label things. X, opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse?
Opposite.
14. Adjacent. Which trig function? Psst. No, you're right, but let's write that at the top of the page. Oh, I guess we kind of have it written here, don't we? Okay, fine. My mind was saying, you didn't write it at the top of the page, Mr. Dueck, and you always do, but I guess we put it in our notes. Okay, yeah, it's going to be tan. Have I got room on the left? Sure, I can do x right down here. Tan. What always goes next to the trig function? The angle. 52 equals x over 14. X is going to be 14 tan 52. And since this is not my final answer, I'm going to be using this to get the answer. Let's go to like 3 decimal places. Let's carry a few extra decimal places just so that we're more accurate, because we don't want to round off until the very end. So right, you guys are okay with how I got the 14 tan 52 cross multiply, right? 19.919, 17.919. Okay. Now what do I want to find, Marcus? Because I asked you. We'll never get tired. Okay, want to find y. Okay, I'll go to black for that. Ooh, we're using the bottom triangle. You know what, Marcus? I would probably just go like that just to help me clue in. I'm looking at that angle. Takes 1 second. Y, opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse? Opposite. The 14, because that's the only side I know again. The 14, what's that? Adjacent. Oh, it's tan again. It won't always be the same trig function. This time it happens to be. I'll go like this. Tan 31 equals opposite over adjacent. Y is going to be 14 tan 31. $8.412. And Marcus, what did you tell us our final strategy was going to be? 412? That's what I said. My brain's like 5 steps ahead right now. I'm not good. Slow down and stay with the class, Mr. Dueck. Sorry, what did you say, Marcus? Add what? So let's go. I'll go like this, and I'm going to say AC equals X plus Y. If you didn't write that step in your homework, I'm good, but let's put that in our notes, Marcus, so we know when we're studying that's what the heck we did, yes? Which is going to be 17.919 plus 8.412 plus 17.919, 26.3? Did they say how many decimal places to go to in the question? No? I'll go to 2 then. That's the addition type. Some of you who are clever may say, I bet you in question number 2 we're going to subtract, because he called it subtraction. What do they want me to find, Kira, in question 2? They want me to find this little chunk right here. Now, a lot of students want to go SOHCAHTOA with that triangle. What's the problem with SOHCAHTOA and that triangle? Why can't you? No right angle. Okay. Suggestions.
Find the sides for the bottom one.
Can you use letters? Find side what?
AB.
Okay. Can I find side AB? Yeah, check. So, how's that help? These are probably the toughest ones. How many triangles are there in this picture?
2, 3,
Not two. What?
3.
3. Where's the third? The big one. How's that help? Yeah. What did you say? You're saying that I can treat that right there as one single 53-degree angle? In fact, I might even think about the big triangle as follows. Write this down. CAD 53, yoink. Oh, 12. So Brady, how or why does that help? So what can I find in terms of letters? I can find CA. What did you say I could find, Darian? BA. How can that help me find CB? Your hint is, look at the title of this type of question. Amy, what did you just murmur to yourself? I think if I find the long vertical, I find the bottom vertical, that'll tell me the slanty short vertical. Subtraction. And this, I find, until you get good, it's worth redrawing either the small triangle, the bottom one, or the big triangle. Since I've already drawn the big triangle, I'm going to go with this. I'll call this X. That X, opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse. What about the 12? Which trig function? Mr. Dueck, it's always tangent. No, it won't always be tangent. But tangent is the most common if you're looking at finding stuff. It's the most one that shows up the most. Tan 53 equals x over 12. X equals 12 tan 53. Make sure you're trying your calculators. I did not do my who's missing a calculator. I'm wondering if I should have. Ooh. Maybe I didn't. Maybe finally. Oh, maybe we have perfection. I don't know. I'll pretend we do. 12, 10, 53. 15.925? It's a 4. No, next to it is a 5, so you'd round the 4 up. Darian, what did you say we could find?
BA.
Let's do that right on the big diagram. I think I can do that here. I'll call this Y. I'll color in this angle just to let myself know that's the one I'm using so I don't accidentally use the 21 or the 53. Y, opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse.
Opposite.
12.
Adjacent.
I'm telling you, Mr. Dueck, it's tangent every time. Not every time, but a lot of the time. Tan 32 equals y over 12. Y equals 12 tan 32. $7.498. $7.498, Mr. Dueck, come on. So it seems to me then, here's what I have. I've got that vertical line which has C, B, and A. And how far from C to A? 15.925. Oh boy, I was doing great until that one. 5. How far from B to A? 7.498. You guys can just turn your paper to right sideways. I kind of have to. VC is going to be what? How can I calculate it? 15.925 take away. Whoop, too far. Dope. Didn't want to draw that big line there. Take away 7.498. BC equals 15.925. Take away my last answer, which is stored on my calculator. Woo! 8.43. Millimeters. Woo! Oh, and again, I didn't walk you through all that. Garrett, I think we saw you can subtract. You okay with that? You know what we're going to do now, Garrett? Look up. Oh, yeah, turn the page. Oh, you already have. Holy smokes, you're ahead of me. May 27th, 1238. Garrett's ahead of Mr. Dueck. Did you write that down? Stepping stones. What do I mean by stepping stones? I also kind of call these hopscotch. You played hopscotch when you were a kid, or you've seen kids. You know what? You're going to find one thing and use that to find another thing and use that to find another thing until you eventually, I found the one that I want. So ready, Garrett? What do they want me to find? Let's call that X. See the, don't write this down. See the lovely triangle? It is a right angle triangle, so I'm good to go, except how many things do I know in that upper triangle? Only one, the angle. How many do I need? So I think what we're going to try and do now is somehow find a missing side or angle in this upper triangle. Where should we go look? At the lower triangle. What can I find in the lower triangle? Well, I can find this. Which isn't going to help me. Oh! Do you guys see it? I can find the hypotenuse of the bottom triangle, which is not the hypotenuse of the top triangle, but that'll help me solve the top triangle. So you know what? I'm going to put a little... Oh, and where it says find side AB, I'm going to cross that out. I'm going to say find AC, use to find AB. You got a hopscotch. You got a stepping stone your way across. First find AC, use that to find AB. Well, let's do it. How can I find Y? Well, here's the angle that I know. What's that 17? Opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse?
Adjacent.
Ha, Mr. Dueck, I told you it was always tangent. What's the Y? Did you all turn the page, or are you on the same page still? Oh, okay. I'm going to go like this, because I have turned the page on my original. Also, it's part of my ritual routine to just start getting tricky with it, to start thinking about trig. That gets me in my brain focused that way. That doesn't look like an A. That looks worse. Well, whatever. Which trig function? To find Y? Cos. What always goes next to the trig function? The angle. Equals 17 over y. Is the y on the top or on the bottom of my fraction, Jordan? Do you know, have you guys spotted the pattern, what it's going to be? Have you done enough trig? When the y is on the bottom and you cross multiply? Okay, yeah. Kira says, Mr. Dueck, I've done this so much when the y is on the bottom, it's the side that I know divided by the trig function. That's a good enough shortcut that it's almost worth memorizing is the wrong word. Do enough homework so that you spot it, and I'm good with that. Certainly, if any of you take physics next year, we get really good at trig. 19.833. I'll change colors. I'll go to black. Now I'm going to go up here. This one's a little trickier. Anthony, side y, opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse? Yeah, you got to think about it a bit more. I'm going to cross out the h now and put an O there. Side x, adjacent, or hypotenuse? Mm-hmm. Kel trig function. O and H? I think sine. I think it was a sin to get sine mixed up with cosine. Sine of the angle equals opposite, which is y, which I know, 19.833 divided by hypotenuse. Kira, are we dividing again by the variable? Can we use your shortcut again? Let's do that. It's going to be 19.833 divided by sine of 68. Although I'm not even going to use that 19.833. I still have this stored on my calculator conveniently, hence my argument about getting a half-decent calculator. I'm going to go that. If I just hit divided by, it assumes I want the previous answer. Most of your calculators will do that. Sine 68. Some of you may have to hit an answer button, which is usually next to the equal sign or shift equal sign or something like that. And I get 21.39. Units, millimeters. That's how long that side is. So we have three types of questions. Addition, subtraction, stepping stone hopscotch. Example 4 says find angle MNO. Which angle do they want me to find? Marcus, what's the first letter?
M.
What's the next letter?
N.
What's the next letter?
O.
That's the angle they want me to find. Got a problem. That's not a part of a 90-degree triangle. Any suggestions on how I can find that big weird angle there?
Find the angle of M. Find the angle of M, and then you could subtract 20 from that.
Find angle M?
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying if I find that
Yeah.
and I find that,
Yeah.
I can go 180 minus?
Yeah. For both, and then.
Sure. That can work. There's another way. Anybody see the other way you could do it? The other way you could do this, and we'll use your method because that's good, is you could find this little angle up here. You could find that little angle down there, and then Brody had the brainwave earlier. He said, hey, can't we just add those two together? Yeah, we could. But let's use Darian's. So Darian, your strategy is, what angle do they want us to find?
M and O.
MNO. So here's your strategy. That's going to be angle MNO equals 180 degrees minus angle M minus angle O. Is that what you're saying? Minus the top corner, minus the bottom corner. And that forms a big triangle. And the angles add to 180, Garrett. That's the only rule that you don't need a right triangle for. That works for any triangle. All right, let us find angle M. I'll do it in red. So I'm going to erase my blue line, and I'm going to color it in red. Well, I see this 11, opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse.
Adjacent.
What about this 18?
Opposite.
Which trig function can I use to find angle M? Opposite over adjacent. Angle M equals, and I heard you murmur something under your breath, Darian, and I don't think you were saying a bad word. What did you say instead?
Shift.
Uh-huh. That top left angle is 58.57 degrees. Yes? Yeah? All right. Let's find angle O. I'll do that one in blue. Well, I got that 18. What's that 18 to angle O? Opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse?
Opposite.
What's that 22?
Hypotenuse.
Which trig function? Sine? You said sine, not sin, right? I know, because that would be a sin. Sine of O equals opposite over hypotenuse. Angle O equals, by the way, I don't like using O as a variable, because what number does that look like an awful lot?
Usually zero.
Zero, so I tend to avoid using O. You with me, Brody? Good, then be quiet. You get 54.90? Someone double check me? Yeah? Angle MNO is going to be 180 degrees minus 54.9 degrees minus 58.57 degrees equals, how big is that angle? How big is that angle?
66.53.
Anybody else? Sorry? Who got that too?
That's what I got.
60, what was it? Sorry?
66.53.
Two triangle questions, two triangle trig. I say, "Pah." I laugh in its face and I say, bring it on. I kind of like these. They're nice little brain teasers. What's your homework? Number 1. Okay. By the way, in question C, so that 67 is on the whole arc. Both those angles add to 67, and the bottom angle is 29 degrees. Number 2. Ooh, look at C. How are you going to do? I'll let you think about it. 3 is a true or false question. 4 is good. This is how they do numerical response questions. Sometimes, actually, you can ignore the numerical response filling in the bubble because I yoinked that from somewhere else, and you can just write down the answer. The answers are attached, and I think I have another take-home quiz for you.